Bianca.
Go around.
We just found that we didn't record. Okay.
도초고 돈이 검단디고 땅아서 돈이 걸 로병제 아니 두바제 삼로당 틱 삼비 돈다 다랑 카드 아초 카드 코로 삼로당이 짐 드와드린 도바게 다 나초니 티 마임바 돈이 공퀴 공퀴 야 라니 하게 나바키 아니 하게 나바 하 다소소 거이나 하게 나바 테소야 나바 샤비 돈이 근데 바게 돈이 다 주버다야 야 가지 그 돈이 인도 돈이 다 나초고 돈이 근데 돈이를 쳐바메버체 곰차가 돈이 치바임발라 곰처럼 만라데 곰이 짤면라 kanza gomba bu gitser mendra gomja di chiba imba kanjila
Gomsha chiba imba kanjila.
gomse gitser de ta chi hagi namba da tendi kani ta gomba ta kida ngara la ya nga chola shira di lojon tanda jini chia insan di me di na gena da supin loptan bara longo sana ani pagi yur gomja ge toni di chiba imba che ani gomse ge hagi namba ta ki tendi ge tani ani gomare jas gomse gitser mendra res
In the end, we'll show the PPT, okay? Because we just see that we didn't record. And so Geshe will show everything again, okay? Just the presentation for you, recording. And then, so the difference between Sutra meditation and Tantric meditation. So any kind of, besides of the topic of the meditation. So we have to pick up one topic of meditation, and that topic of meditation, like what, or one object or one topic of that meditation. In the sutra way, in the sutric way, what we do is we sort of follow instructions, but not like together while we are meditating, not like that. We have to follow the 3 steps of hearing, listening. When we say listening in this context, means to listen, to receive transmission, teachings, to read, to receive the informations. This is what is condensed in the word listen. It's not just listen, right? It's to read, it's to study, and so forth. This is, first of all, is the first source of studies, is this. You have to receive the proper teachings and understanding. Then second is the contemplation, or reflection, contemplation. So you reflect again and again. If it's really like that, you check informations and so forth. This is more analytical studies, but you have to engage in this first, understanding, listening, receiving the information, then thinking about this again and again and again. And then the third, then you go to the internalization or contemplation, in the sense of meditating. Meditating is not just thinking. This is the second. The thinking process is just a second. The third, what we call meditation, even the second, you can meditate on this, but the third is really contemplating using the more deep consciousness. And then if you go through the 3 methods, 3 steps, this is the sutra meditation. Yeah, of course, there's in the two ways, but the first one, you go through the topic in these 3 steps. The second meditation, the tantric meditation, using the same topic, but the tantric style is not only focusing the same object with these 3 same steps, but you use also the visualization of a deity. When you visualize the deity together with visualization of the topic, and then all of the aspects of that deity and so forth, this is the tantric meditation. Okay? And ik heb Bianca Kilsiona.
Tati gejam se ni na tes kola pinde ne so yure ni chik de ta ke chran la de da tuba ta samba de gomba te de ni chal yo gorda kana nga pi jigar yore sana ane tuba me be gomba de la dan talan zapan ra sana pi chi yore har so gom kani jaba ba na tambo tu tene gom ane sam zedi so jimse salo tangaro ta sam bi tonda so to ha ko watela tai so yani yan de brade ane gom la goris te main bi ane 다 같이 검사봐 있나 가서 다 라파 menju지 딱 양래 안자가 나지 저리 고 자토 말아 라파지 그 비치 그 하고서 되는 인상 가르 검바 임바 있는데야 지 동부 투 검자 동반이 바이나 소소 다 게게선이 투고 요나래 아니 가니 투네 투 투자디 소소 그들라 아니 삼로고 야포 따지지 Tanga tachi on dini jinsare ta pachi tomba ni sar ni jinsare samsa ko sam tindi jile ba yubedi taso so gomare ni til otila comes.
And just as we said before, the two practices, the tantric and sutric meditation practices, so both of them, they have the 3 steps of listening or studying, reflecting and contemplating, meditating. And and this is very, very important, like to really go to the right sources, either like in the teachers, receiving teachings from the teachers, or the right studies and so forth, because a meditation without proper receiving instructions, correct instructions, and without thinking in reason, is like that, without reflecting, it's like that is not a sort of the intellectual understanding of the topic. Usually we say, we don't need to understand intellectually. No, after receiving the instructions, we have to check, we have to think. It's like that. It's not in order for us to reduce our gross doubts. And then just after then, we have to meditate, because meditating without these 2 previous prior steps is just like trying to escalate without our hands, sort of like that. So and so it's not possible to escalate without the hands. So it's exactly the same. So in order to really internalize this, transform your mind through that topic of meditation, so you have to receive the instructions, the correct instructions, either in oral transmission or whatever, and then thinking using your intellectual reasoning. It's like that, it's not like that. You compare, you check, you debate, you ask, and so forth. And then after reducing all of these doubts, and then you go for the meditation practice.
나서기야 이해 나서기
tanda chilanga chani doda ngani 동반이 나 차라 되고 쳐버려 봐. 이번에나야 나 초리 너 초리 나 초도 니가 더 식체요 막 가르래서 시바 참못 현대 차비 로스 자 디몬데 기비토니 동반이 또 요소 나 초도 동반이 또도 하지 그 자보다 니가 침보여 봐 유진이 쳐버려 그래마도 유라 쳐버려.
And also talking about the difference between the 2 practices, the 2 techniques, sutric and tantric meditation. When we talk about the object of meditation, so what I said, the topic just be more easy, but the object of meditation is the same. There is no difference at all. So, for example, meditation in emptiness. So the emptiness is the object of that meditation. Has no difference. Okay, so whatever we visualize is the same. The point is, the main difference is the meditator, the mind who is meditating in that object. The mind who is meditating in the object is different in Sutra and in Tantric technique. The Sutra, using the Sutra techniques, we are using our the subtle mind. Instead, when we are using the Tantric practice, we are using our super subtle mind. So we have different subtleties of mind, right? Gross, subtle, and super subtle. And so in the sutra, we are using the first subtlety, like just the subtle mind. And in tantric, we are using the very, very, very subtle, super subtle mind. So then you have a different in potency, because the very subtle mind is super, super powerful. Instead, in the sutric meditation, we don't use our super powerful mind. We just use our middle powerful mind. For example,
Chirano di Chicano Matang the Gun, then Chudel Livacho, all of that to some Pitaposo to do. Odena Nazugo, Sheva Rabon on the Jivikalia, Sheva de la Chadangachin, the Yur Jerry, Yurtobi Liva Yor, Iba in a young, Dele Tesam Liva Meva. Da Shiva Tamo to want to join the Namshi Rabat Sama the Kani, Shiva Tamo can and Liva Sama the living wheels on them, and Shiva Tamo di Tony, and the Yurtona Karcheva in the Yamlin Karcho.
It's just like one example, one illustration that if you can compare, imagine one river that is completely spread, is going completely spread in the flow of the river, and also all around the, all around the edges of that river. So that river is completely spread. So it's not that strong, isn't it? I mean, nowadays it's very strong, but when it's just it's too spread, like has not that power to destroy everything. Instead, that same flow of river, if we canalize, if we put inside one pipe, how strong goes leaves that water from that pipe, and then can destroy everything. I mean, can produce anything that you want. Exactly the same. Of course, this is just an example. But when we are using our gross minds, the gross and the first level of subtlety of minds, the mind is not so powerful as can be when we are using the very subtle mind. Very subtle, not super subtle, the very subtle mind. Okay.
So if we look at the research, then the test we use is a visual test, which I think the visual consciousness relates to the gross level of mind. So I wonder if we are actually training ourselves on the gross level of mind, or maybe subtle level of mind compared to a very subtle level of mind, then maybe the test that we've been using, the MIP, is not able to actually test the concentration of the very subtle mind, because it relates to a test that on the visual consciousness.
Kurang itiwa koso. Ane kurang itiwa diri. Tanda so MI test tanda dira. Di ngaso cerita ngaso mishe pejotangi dua. Mishe pejotangi basonsa ngaso ane shepa rakpa ngaso sem rakpa ngaso pejotangi dua. Persi sem rakpa pejotamba imbasonsa. Da chichena di ngaso sem chamo tan shindu chamo ane tsota chetu ginda. Ane dire besi maris.
Tanda ngaso tsudache deada rapada tsudache degira. Tanda sim jane se ngaso sim additional pamato adi gonga gawanshi shiba mombo tozo tagegi sona jipa kanto. Ni tada solo kasa kawayang sim tsuayang tagi sim di chilu ane te focus chetu yomara. Tadi su gomiapo jamna tagi go rapata su all the short da dam yongorda. Kate kum kate jawa yimana nyamne topan turin ondi te tagi gigalana je sim chambagan pandua dada. Yana te maina sim te chigan da pangne do te te mai tagi danda gumra ma jawa yimana tan ngatu sim ramandra sim ramandra te pa kantun bo kasa kala yan. No tir tadi yada da rapate darwaya.
Tanda rapares ine antundre ani nika tagaran tungire dire.
Tundi samar dati o ngaso gumjawa digi shikin le ding du rapa gala shikele du tanda nga gang shia da le to ga yor te le to cha do mar ge song dia da ina gang sam sing ngaso sim rapa ti su ga nalo ya ta pa kan to de zu domati an pen to gu.
Yes, it's true that we are using the gross level of consciousness because the visual consciousness is one of the divisions of gross level of consciousness. All the sensorial consciousness are gross level of consciousness, okay? And so Vincent's question was, so since we are using the visual consciousness, right? And so we are just checking the gross consciousness. We are not checking the subtleties of consciousness. And then, well, it's true that this test is using the gross level of consciousness, the gross consciousness of the visual consciousness, but because either the sutric technique and the tantric techniques, the techniques are using the different level of consciousness. So they bring the result, not the result, they impact the visual consciousness in a different levels. And so the sutric test, so is using the sutric technique, is using the more subtle, the super subtle consciousness, and so they have a bigger impact in the visual consciousness rather than the sutric technique. And so using just the subtle consciousness, and so has also a different impact in the visual consciousness. So here we can see the difference impact, the effect, the impact of these two techniques.
So when we talk about the conclusion, because the conclusion says, oh, Sutra meditation is better for concentration than Tantra meditation, I think. But I think it would be more appropriate to make it more nuanced to say, in a group experience in Sutra meditation, the increase of focus of the growth level of consciousness or visual consciousness between Sutra and Tantra is like this, rather than Sutra and Tantra in general, which seems to be suggested by the conclusion.
Kosa.
Ina
da dagan kirei. The invasion the conclusion kare pugetel. Jindum. Ani the invasion san kiran so jindum nala kare tiugere sana da dogi chola da yagaresra. Nangi chola da shukin chemporang. Ngaso samlotena shindirang yogi mindusra ngaso jindum nala tidwas. Ina pelche jindum nala di sabra shema kilsida ngaso sem rakpa lani shukin yaksho dogi chodlarares. Ani sem rakpa korang galani ngagi cholatis shukin chempora yomaresa di lamna yaga mendros.
The person Nacho take son de ata Nacho ina be Chara Mambo Ramba Mambo Yuri. Tan Dochalo in the Antonio Gumbala Chara da Mambo Yordako. Tambong Tali Tambo Nasan Rigi Tony Gumbata, Rapama the Gumto Yomari, Tony Kuro Kari Hakumela. Tapping other teaching Tony Parchimela Tony Mosun Todi. Docho Tommy Shivati pe Chamano Mandosaro. Tina Jidana, Achoni Gum Dindin Suina, Nacho Kitanda, Rapadin in Goods Yormando, Tanda gigs one of Jipat Chamush, but Sechila Sandia, this is by Shiba Chamushugan Pavora. Tiganda Tanto to Yomarina, Takonin Goods Yoni, Korini, Chitan, Zavala Korini Charayo in Goods Sania, Konila Charajitis. Think it's a row. Tony Gomba, Docho Tony Gomba de la Charamambo Yura. Tandangan de Chile, Tanda Tony Gomba sitting as Rapajimado, Salatanto Meva.
Dochola.
And Dochola, Tanto Yoma, Dochola Charamambo. Tatoni, Tanda Tusum with some gusto. Then is some low with Neo de Chamo. Then is some Gumjo. Tinipang Mondo Tichino Lamganamza and the Chamo Shiba Chamon Pando Zagro. What do you call Dochola in a Cora Charamambo?
Well, in both techniques, actually, first of all, talking about the object of meditation. So about now is meditating in emptiness. Just in the mere meditation in emptiness itself, either in Sutra, also in Tantric techniques, they have many steps. Many steps to do this. First of all, as we said, the first step in the Sutric meditation is to receive the instructions, and then to check, and then to debate, and then to understand if you really understand this topic, and then go to meditation. And then even in Sutric meditation technique, like there is also not only this, but then you have many subtleties of the steps of meditating. And for now, this is almost an introduction, or the first level of the practice of meditation in emptiness, because to meditate in emptiness has a lot of subtleties. And for example, when our mind become a mind of an Arya being, or when that mind become completely placed or focused in emptiness in a direct way, and in equipoised meditative state, when this mind completely change to that state, even that state that we can see directly in emptiness is still, there's lots of subtleties. And so this is the very introductory, the very first step of these techniques of meditation. This is either in Sutra, and also, of course, in Tantra, there's lots of different subtleties.
According to the MIB test, it seems like the Tantra meditator had on the first day better performance than the Sutra meditator. After 2 days of instruction.
Mardi Tambot Kuni Tata Chiunata Tamjik Hamadin.
The rate of difference, I understand that there was a very small difference, but on the on the day first, there was
Tita chopra shigo ma.
there was
Tita
a
kunyi
group-
dargi yomarda.
No, no, no.
First day, 14 day da kunyi dargi yomarda.
It's a tosha.
Kunyi susu mado. Ta thama tela kunyi darshaga. Taki eki gaal kar dardi gorsana nyama chonga nalolo kursu kache chonga ta.
Nima tangola,
Chonga to
chik dela
nima tangbo ta
chuk
nima
miss chikdus, and chik dela tema manga pin tema chuk miss chikdus lairus, go through the bus chikdus.
Mhm.
tedang pen ro
so
pen ro shana shigda. Nyama tangbo te karasana koron do nyama tangbo te ta ani thamani bod dambare da. Tangi nya chutz lagdu se da te ta pen ro shaba yamba na. Nyama tangbo ni sabje la kayona. Nyama samchi gi jile chi chini ma to la kayo marda. Cheka la de ma. Di.
That the first day average the 12 rows in Baina,
Day.
12 rows. No? And
Day.
the Tandra day, no? First day average.
This
Ah,
one,
ching
this
the
one,
ma-
Malakai.
The next screen.
Now, people at home, can you see this? Can you see the PPT now? Okay, the answer. So, Ani?
Next screen is next screen is Tandra page.
Oh, they.
Dindo e.
Dini keva.
Deta te konyi dargo marda gi.
Nima tango de.
De garesha. De sudara resha tandara resha.
This is Tandra, this is Sutra. So on the day first,
Sutra-
the average is on 12.
Yeah. Sudara rendua.
This one.
The rendua.
On the Sutra, the average is on 12. That
Well-
people reported that on average, they miss it 12 times.
Dira.
Tandida marda ya ko tata laga ta tengi yo marda. Gyacha ra uti masona.
No, on average, 12
Yeah.
times.
Correct. Nyumba no chaske.
Just wait.
Hmm.
Geshe is saying that it's not, this 12 is not number of changes. It's written here, but this is
Tata
the
laga ke
one.
nabat tengi yo marda ko. Chini la son se yo marda. Dinala.
Average number.
Me dinala kata yore
19
mo
people.
mo chugitik mo chugitik langyo de chanyam de tina dom sayo.
Oh, sure,
Mo
average.
chini tik. Mat mo chig chini la son la yo marda.
It's the
Mo
average number.
chugu yorwa.
12.
Mo chugu yorwa. Mo chugu ko ne la jan yo ta jasha de masona chini rabu yimba yina. Ta tama tela tini de ge na wajire ndo. Man ro sayo ta. Nima simchi
Tanda kurangi tiyo kosai.
te sutra ki nimna tangbo da ta sutra ki nima sumche tamani da damsho wores tangbo de la chini la kayo na ta tamong gi chanyong gi every chi tamong gi anga zo chama gi ni chini la kayo na ta tamati la chama damay na ge chi ma da la kam dus ma ta michi gi chini la jo te me jeri se go marda chama de dumbi ta ko
The average time.
me chini yo na ta chama ya dumbi chanyum gyachang go ma pa burwa ta di gyasa dumbi chanyum every ji tere ndo tamba de Nima tambola katsela yore goziwedi chini ta sami chanyung me chini ge chini yimba ina la gorda chini yimba ina tamala ani
Ge.
ge gal papsa sha kuso matsama ge
This
jasha
Sutra. Ani Tantra?
ta tandra chigore
Let me just check here because otherwise.
michik de marda di
Yes,
di
okay.
Average.
matsama ge michugu di average
Uh,
tan dine di michik chik
And this is for Tantra? And so what Geshe is saying, so the question was, well, let me go straight to the answer. So yes, here it's not that everyone experienced like 12 times missing the object a minute. Is that, of course, like is an average. And so we add all the number of missing and then we divide by the number of participants. And so it's the average. And so in the first day, so in average, it was 12 times missed, and then the end of the month, and so it was 8. This is for the Sutra group. Instead for the Tantra group, in the beginning was 10, a little bit more, maybe 10 and a half, whatever. And then in the end was a little bit more, can you see a little bit more than 8 something. So this was the yes, the
Difference is less, but I think the average still shows because all the people in the test was same from the same class.
yeah
yes.
same class
And then they had 2 days of the instruction.
Twice.
Beti nima chik chiri
Twice.
do chotela nima chik tirwa ta nga chotela nima chik
Okay.
Ku-
Instruction
Ine
was
angkong
1
temengi.
days.
gom nima sumchil joki
Madam shoge gonda
joki gonda jab ani nga chu seta thema sumche yore tangbo ka te jela kandu tangbo ngutsu ngoro ngutsu ri ma chia ga ma ba la ga yorda na kashi ka chungni karse nishi tsabji la ga yorda ta kashi ta tomani chuma do malani do ta tagi nima sumche de ondi nishi lani tso ge chi tu chini ma to mala chelani de ko summa ma to mala indi leo da ma re mani ya chanyum suddombi la ba kare sena ma nyori do sambu
docho tema nima rire konso tema chi konso ani zinda yorida.
zinda nima tangbo ma to yomare
Nima tampo mato.
nima
Ani ngakchola?
ngakchola nima tri ngots gara sani nani ga ngato ani jumji den ngots ga yinsi tri ndosho tala ani lopte de sani ngacho dal
Ani tagara.
nani ni tan nima dala
Ni katagara. Yes. So yes. So in number of times that we miss the object is like that. And so the sutric, they reach the number 8, in average, okay, in the average. And then the tantric also a little bit more than 8 here, but they started with less than 12 times missing, right? And the routine it was more or less the same. The routine was the same. Like both of them, they receive the first instruction from the beginning, like the sutric group in the first day and the tantric group in the second day. And then after, all of them, they have to meditate twice a day for 30 days. And so this was the same.
de tambo nima chonga kuro go do chondo wena chubana ko dangwa ta thama dela ta thama dindiri thama ga tumdi ta gurumi do goro ta gurumi do go yondi tamba ta nga chu choja na jele ge yomares ta nga chu choja chewa de kar ma chere sina nga chu choja chewa de ani tandara shoti ma nyori ndugure sutarate ma ri ndugure sam ge choja che yora tandai karere sina ani ndo nga chu se de niba chimbo yo insa tin ro sam yorwa soja che yorde soja na jile yomare ndo chatin ro sha yores ma nyang ro sha yores tati tanda la na ji tanda nga tsu nyam nyo shira mewa insa ta ngaran ro jina shira da shetu yomare ta ko ta na ji ta kitno tele mauro ta nga tsu maung ba kan res na nga ta ndo nijal pe tse nyanggo ki shitse yo ke mambo tse dam tani che ba inda tende nga choti yang ro re sambita jasha jando soja che gis.
Yeah, and this when we this is just the ratio of change, right? So we expected one thing, but we conclude a different thing, right? That actually, because of the tantric meditation is so much powerful, we thought that this is gonna really impact much more positively. But in this group of people that they were still engaging in these studies, they didn't show so much better result rather than we expected. So for this group of people that were engaging in sutric studies, like in their classes, that's why we call classes and so forth. And so the efficiency of the sutric meditation was much more efficient rather than a topic that they didn't study so well. They received instruction. They read, yes, but they didn't analyze. They didn't study so deeply. And so the efficiency of that meditation without proper studies didn't happen. They just received instructions, simple instructions.
I'm curious to know, some people actually, after meditation, worsened in their attention. What was their explanation? What did they share with you?
Mika sheka konso goma gyam mola tangom gom gyagi gotsuna konso ila cheba sanamidu konso tanang nyur drogitus keran so ditola keresam gitus.
Konso karasodus.
Ale konso.
Konso Geshe Shide.
gom jawa yana ani ila cheba meba chandu gundu sa
Kashi de chagyo do.
koina
Tangun ni yewa chala jela ya tudro gyo do.
Ale dela. So for example, these guys here.
Mare.
So in the beginning, this is individual person, right? And so this individual here, after meditating, they increase the number of
te tombo yanjo rendo tambo ko yanjo
missing the objects. So what did they say?
So he worsened over the time during the meditation. What did the experience say? the meditation.
Why some people they increase the number of losing the objects, while some people actually they in average most of the class they reduced, but some people after start meditating they increase the number of losing the objects. Why? What did these participants what did they report about this?
근데 지난데 그 문제와야 같이 그 gem비 양 생각나자. 나자 레완다보다. 야 근데 양 쇼고요라. 내가 그 gem인데 근데 인지 말아.
저틀 제일
아.
저틀 제일.
저틀 제일 따디 지난 저틀 가지고 서베 제한도 하고. 서베 제한데 양 티 서베 레한진도 하고 저 제한도 하고. 통화도 저 제한도 담바 양 넘쳐빈다 양 가서 리정 그 문자와 그 쳐버린자. 따따가지 커서 양 레자와 양 가시가지 지금 거리에 나서면 다 부가 나로인자 그 레자와도 따따 가보로 지금 거야. 그런 가르치기가 저런 나자든지요야 진이 나자지요. 다 든지지바이나 양 가시가시 양 거기 따따서라 레한도 양 나서 곰바세하는 앞에 비켜서나 레한데 데스 가버리지. ena tanda chok tsiri nada ya koya chik ndwa karo chik chiya. Ti tanda nga tsu chik leand leri koti Google from zo ndwa tena ne ba zo. Ani pa tane, yang te tsi leand yang tes yakpo chungu mdu. Yang susu kare chik na tsada ya kore ko sama sama dwa chipa xie jana samsa yang tokpa legi ndo mi. Tindi ki kembi yang sala lea. Kako tata chike goyo ra. Chik chene lewa diya ko le tata chiyo ma yinda. Ante tapozu.
Well, actually, it's a good point, a good observation that some meditators, after starting meditating like this, after 1 month, they increase the number of losing. So sort of they become worse in focus and attention, sort of like that.
Sutra and Tantra both.
Yes. So some participants did happen this. So what did they report, right? It was your question. And then, actually, we cannot assert. We cannot give a proper 100% of sure what happened with that person. But usually, after starting a certain meditation, the unbalance of wind energy in the body of that participant can increase. And so in Tibetan, we say like we have the loom disease. So sort of increase, it was serve as a condition to increase the wind disease or the unbalance of the wind energy in the body. And so this is almost clear and so forth. But of course, we have surveys, we have the questions that even in the Google Drive, whatever we send to the participants. And so we do many questions, and then they can answer all of them. But it's still like we don't know exactly how was the situation of this disease, of this element of wind element in the body of that person, which is physical. So because consciousness is not physical, so the matter, the material physical element of the wind, how was that element in the body before the meditation test and then after? But definitely there is a very big impact in the meditation, in this of the meditation in this wind element. And this we can see in many people, even like doing retreats, that sometimes they become a little bit crazy after the retreats because of this. To people at home, if you want to make questions, and here also if you have some experience in meditation and so forth, if you want to ask.
Thank you.
How to say thank you in Hebrew?
Toda.
Toda. Toda.
Are there other aspects that could be studied regarding the Sutra and Tantra meditation? Because they studied attention, right? The improvement of attention. Are there other aspects that could be studied as well?
Tanda kiranso ila chepa tam tonan kiranso di kiranso tunrejasa. Ni dimashira ila chepa mato dele shema ngaso chiga gichogla dramiradwa ila chepa mato dele shemba pe mampodwa. O diang ani kiranso time base.
Ila chepa gamado.
Ila chepa mato dele shemba kiranso time you base ki simatana time yure base.
Ila ta chupi sambala. Tena ni ga gangla milim gangla Melam gana da lisa dreams ya ro dini da
Mere. Du tanda ila chepa doa. O da do.
yor de tagi i ji de tsa di ko ka je sem ko ten len ka je yome la pa lap te so ya ko sem tempo yo na la pa lam de nyori do ti not i ji ti re
Mere.
teni jamba gana
Tanda di do tanda kiranso nyamshi badira. Nyamshi ti ani konso gitona mar drogures kiranso musu tonson sra. Tanda MI test dira. Di tanda musu ani tonanta ila chepa kikatso par yo mes kiranso tonson. Di mase ila chepa mase dele shemba sem jun shemba yamena da sem gewe chogi sem shemba kiranso katso par yo mes kiranso time base.
ame
Ta tu gire base tanda test di.
ta to sabare sibare ta ti tsari ki nyamjeb chi na la ko chi gama to ya jo je che dana ya ko dung do chimbori se ya che thok mare ko tabla chi ane tabshi chi ina te da tinyam da ta ya yela che ba ta semja jamba ta so de che thojirwa ma do jena dini mindu.
In this technique, we just analyze the attention, okay? And actually, we just analyze attention. And I don't know if it's so efficient to analyze other aspects besides attention, because just like any scientific studies, usually we focus in one thing. If you focus in many index, actually we cannot have a proper scientific analysis if we focus in many index. And so we do specific researches on the top of one index and so forth. Okay.
So Geshe, I know if there's been any research with, because now we have sort of combination of insight and concentration meditation. Does you know if there's any specific research on, sort of concentration training meditations, maybe just focus on the breath or maybe some
which technique is better to increase focus meditation, concentration?
Sutra here has an insight meditation, right? And the insight meditation on emptiness.
Insight, yeah.
So,
emptiness is an insight meditation.
So I wonder if there's any research, I guess I know if that is just concentration meditation.
Oh, così. Più dire. Tanda di nganzo karesa. Ale, tanda di togni la guidata, la fatto yamena togni la minera nganzo ila cepa kandes parso la sopa dua. Ina anda nganzo karesa kare?
Jane da hanta.
Jine. Ni perna shinegi gom gabe kablara nganzo tonang pe parto giresa. Tonang dis ani tablam yaksho kareres kiranzo ani nyamshi pache res.
이게 단다 저런 걸 지거든. 자기
I still have something to
그러게
say with you.
세리께 냠좀 땅에 하고 오면 들어와. 단다 연락 제발로야 단다 공장이 결혼 두고 받아 하고서 서로한 듯이 semba 연락 제발 레퍼가 sem종 컨트롤. 컨트롤 연속서 구조 셰럽다 냠도 오늘에 디닌즈다 냠도 참말로 니버도 집어씩 직접 통고요를 마도 연락 제발 짱마도 파쇼 잘라도 마서도 그걸 짱마 개정 근데 대요 말해. 맞아 연락 제발서 컨트롤하게 나서를 봐. 컨트롤하게 나서서 그 셰럽다 총된 도고서 연락 제발들 지금 근결한 도고요 받아 지금 니버 통고 뒤쪽 코다 냠도 샘샘좀 참말로 니버 집어통 대연소는 디닌즈라 니버 통거리 셰럽라 니버 통거리 뭐도요 연락 제발 짱마 파샤 셰럽다 디닌즈라 니버 통고 말했으니 뒤만 그저 연락 제발 돌아야 지금 니버 통고요 뒤쪽 가서 디닌즈나 셰럽다 따가라 니버 통고 김사 가르지나 그저 정말 근로 연소서 그 디닌즈단 손대 여여버리 그 공자고서 셰럽단 손대 여여버리서 대단양도 그저 참말로 쉽게 따가라 집어 직장이고.
I still have something to tell you about your question. If this technique here is just to improve attention and not to prove any other aspect, well, I can tell you that attention. Okay, we have to contextualize just a little bit, and so attention is one of the secondary minds. So remember that we have like the consciousness is divided in main mind and secondary minds, right? Or one main labor and all the workers around the main labor, okay? And so there is 5 helpers of the main mind, that are the 5 ever-present mental factors or secondary minds that are, let me say in English, and so feeling, recognition, perception, content, and attention. Okay, and so whatever he said, whatever he studied, he just brought the attention, like when we are meditating, how these one of these 5 labors, the attention guy here, or the attention, the secondary mind called attention, how this increased. But if attention increased, if one of these 5 mental factors or secondary minds increase together immediately, and at the same time, in the same intensity, increase all of these 5. What are the 5s again? Feeling, recognition, so you can recognize probably the discrimination, the perception of the sensations, and the content. So
And
these 5 is not all the others. There are 1,000 of other secondary minds, but talking about these 5, they're always present in any, not any, but most of the main minds, right? So most of the main minds, they have this attention, they have this perception, they have this discrimination, and all of them, they increase at the same time. But in his research is showing the impact in attention.
tanda nga tsu intention la de hila chiba sa di tanda ge ge sona nga tsu namba ge ngoni na da ti simjo control nga ta chili shi ki cheba ina tsama che thu yor ta ti nga tsu gom chi ga na ina sim jamba tsu ko son sonde da namba ta chili chiba ina ro yor ta tanda nga tsu research in intention la de adi tanda nga tsu inji pe na tsu hila chiba de jern do ti tata tanda nga tsu control nga kana hila chiba ta la ko tsu da ra ko mu di hila chiba sonde tsamba sim ba ke tempo de dia jo te kyamba te la ila chebas ko zon de shi ma do nga so te sim jo kontro nga na la yobi ga de shi te yong mu do te nga so i chesa de yang tan the constitution se pa sim tempo de a jo te kyamba ma do ya ta nga so nambi jong na de ani ila chebas ya te la te ma de ta nga so gindi jimjik chesa de yang tan the ko so gu karsen ila chebas me de chi ban ro de nei ta ta constitution de te ra le da
Ani shine ta grande. Shine
ta
ta ora.
ta sim tempo de a de ta sim tempo de a te tan na chu na te te
Yes, it's true that in every mind, in every consciousness, in every mind, we always have the helpers. We always have the presence of these helpers. It's true, but here in this research here, of course, this also increase. But when we talk about like attention here, even though it's the same attention of these five groups of elements, but it's more in the sense of how focused is the mind, how can that mind be placed in the same object without distracting. And then I ask, is the same as shamatha, because shamatha is one mind completely focused. Is on the way to shamatha, but it's just the mind completely focused in that object without distracting. This is what we are calling here attention, and it's the same attention of the 5 omnipresent factors, but it's more in general aspect of being just without distracting in the object.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes. So then stop share. Okay. Stop sharing. Did please. Okay.